All right, I turned on the microphones.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is public input. Does not look like we have any or any delegations, so I'll move to additions and deletions. I was wondering if I could get someone to make a motion to move number 9 up to 4 and then move everything down.
Motion.
Get a motion in a second. I'm sorry, who?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Number 9. Discussions on proposed fee changes for football and soccer fields.
So the way that we do it now, we charge $35 per field per day. So that goes for baseball, softball, soccer, football. But looking back, it costs a lot of money to do a football and or soccer field. We're about 3 pails of paint per football field and about 2.5 pails of paint per soccer field. My cost on paint this year was $58.45 per pail. So that's $175.35 each time we got to paint. The way football goes, they play every week and a half, so we paint for every one of those games, and we're about, for soccer, about every other week, we're painting. And just for cost recovery, time for painting and paint, I wanted to move that price up from $35 to, I don't want to jump it really, really high. I don't know if 50 was a good $50 per field per day. But say the other fields are just a little bit of chalk, a little bit of time dragging. But those are seasonal people. These are full-time people that are doing the painting and a lot more cost for the paint.
So as a note, this is just discussion tonight. It's not looking for action.
Have you talked about football or soccer yet?
No.
You said you paint football every week or every 2 weeks?
They play every other week at home, so we paint at every home game, which is every other week. And soccer's about the same. We go through and paint all the fields about every other week.
Every week, okay.
Do they still, I know this used to be a big thing, I don't even know if it is anymore, do they do a product that you can put in a painter that kills the grass?
Yep. It's called Primo. We still use it. It doesn't kill the grass. It's a
Growth inhibitor?
growth inhibitor, yep. So instead of growing the grass up, it grows the roots down. So when the paint kind of fades out, it's a little bit greener color because the grass is a little better because it's got better roots, and it doesn't grow up, so there's a little bit of an indent, but it's...
But it's not an option to take the paint out and do that, like...
No, it's like playing a baseball or softball game with no white line. It's just a really faded line with no white that you can see a little bit of a dip in because the grass isn't growing up.
Yeah.
They all want them painted nice and white for their games, and I get that. But it's also a lot of paint for every time we do it, and they're charged the same amount as a field that doesn't get.
So comparatively to baseball and softball right now, they are the same, correct?
Yeah, everything is $35 per field per day except for Drake and the stadium.
So obviously, the cost of materials, have they changed so much lately? We all know that in the world we live in. When's the last time we had an increase? How long have we been at 35?
Last year was 34.
Oh, okay.
The year before, I forgot that sheet. The year before was, I think, 34, and that's when we kind of changed a lot of our pricing. So we've just gone up $1
Yeah.
for that and $1 for players' fees.
So he's looking for a comfort zone of the board in terms of moving that one for soccer and football up by perhaps $15 to the $50 range, even though that still doesn't cover it, but it's creeping away from being the same as the others.
So when do they, I don't even know all this, when do they, is it games only, or do they get charged for practices and everything?
Their practices kind of go off of their players' fee. So, like for Mitchell Soccer this fall, they played 5 Saturdays. but they just get charged for one big field. So it's $35 just for that day, but they have 3 or 4 or 5 smaller fields on that field.
And then you are painting all those small fields within that space, and they still get charged for just the one big field. Is my understanding?
Yes.
I see no reason that wouldn't.
And football's,
$50 for that. I mean, if you look at it that way, you're playing out.
We're still,
I mean, how many kids on that facility that are paying? I mean, it's pretty reasonable.
they had a big jump up this year. Last year, they had 103 kids that were 12 and under. This year, they have 299. So we're getting we're still getting money for the player's fee, but if it goes back to 103 like they had last year, I did their invoice this year. So for soccer, spring and fall, with their player's fee and their field days, their invoice is $4,612. And last year it was $2,662. I mean, all of that is from that player fee going up. Or not the player fee, but the numbers of players that they
How
have.
many days did you charge them to paint then? 8, 10?
We painted the fields that they're on, but they use 5 fields.
Yeah.
But they're only charged for 3 of them. 2 of them are just practice fields. So we painted those, I think, 3 times this fall.
They don't get charged per time that they paint, they get charged per day that they're in.
That they have a game. Yeah. And I kind of thought about maybe doing a.
The whole thing, you're not talking like even hundreds of dollars. You're talking pretty minor, right? I think this.
So how many days did we
Of-
have?
Soccer had 6 games, or whatever, 6 days.
6 times.
Between spring and fall, they had 30 games played, or 30 field days. So that was $525 in the fall and $500.
$450, right? 30 times $15 more.
And I don't know what a good number is, if it's 15, go up $15 to 50, but that's still, minimal.
I would think we're going to have to be raising all of our rates, just looking at inflation.
Yeah, I don't know if you approach those associations with an exact number or, a recommendation coming from the board that this is what we're looking at and have an open conversation with them. I mean, clearly we have to go up. Now, if the number is $15, it might be 25. I mean, I don't know what that number is, but we got to sort of have a visit with them too, so we don't get, the negativity feedback from them. But I think everybody knows the way the life is these days. There ain't one thing that hasn't gone up, and we got to do the same thing to cover some of our costs. I mean, we already do a lot of that the way it is as a city, and that's what we're here for, and that's what it's all about. But we can't also keep on going backwards as a city as a whole either. So I'm pretty sure it'll work out. But I think an open discussion with them saying, hey, we need to go up, maybe tell them what our true costs are. Where do you guys think that you can afford with your attendance that you're getting, what they're currently charging for soccer players? I don't know what they are. My granddaughter's in soccer, and I know my daughter told me it went up. So they're obviously recovering some of their cost, and we haven't moved. So maybe it isn't approaching them with necessarily a number, but maybe it's with open conversation saying, hey, we have to go up. Our costs are this much money. What are we going to do to get this thing closer? Because right now we're totally lopsided as a city to associations.
Yep.
And see what it is. It might be $60. What can they afford based on what they're charging their players? Because they're clearly charging more too. So.
I don't think that should include a negotiation to paint it more frequently.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If there was a paint fee, like we'll charge a little more only just for painting, then I think we'll end up painting more, because they say we're paying for the paint. We want to paint it twice a week. We'd never want it not bright white.
So you think it would be worth breaking it apart or not?
Not on like a paint fee. I just think that those two for football and soccer, because they use so much paint, and it takes a lot more time to paint with a full-time guy instead of a seasonal person chalking a field or dragging a field. I just think that number needs to be higher than 35.
can't, so you're gonna talk to them, kind of come back with a recommendation next month?
Yeah.
Plan.
Yep, I can talk to them, and then I think we're going to do the fees next month, so we could talk more about that and agree, but I could get an idea of what they were thinking and have them have an idea of what I was thinking. Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda is Pat Skinner accepting the treasury secretary. Was it secretary/treasurer position? That's on there.
I see that. My concern is being title. That is my concern, because like I've talked about in the past, can't
Any consolation of yours every time I'm here.
be here.
Wait, that doesn't say a whole lot, Pat, I'm sorry.
Who would be doing it, if I wasn't here? In
Well,
my absence.
I don't, you have to be out of the people here, we got two other people that,
Yeah, generally what happens is if the president's gone, then the vice president runs the meeting. If they're both gone, the secretary runs the meeting. And if all three of you are gone, then probably the most senior of the members would run the meeting.
It's really,
mm-hmm.
with that in mind, I'll accept that. But just so y'all know that if I can't do anything, somebody else can take that.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Next item is approval of minutes.
Thank you for your detailed minutes, Angel.
Everyone's had a chance to read them, make a motion to approve them.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion, can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carried. Financial reports. How are we looking, Kevin? Is there anything concerning you?
There's nothing glaring. Anything anyone from the divisions would like to point out regarding the finances? Other than from the rec center, obviously, the pool revenue is lacking at this point. We've got a little update on the direction of that here shortly.
There's no questions. Can I get a motion to approve the bills?
I'll motion to approve.
A motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the bills. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Abstaining. Board reports.
I'm going to go first, if that's all right. At Cadwell, we got Park and Rec football still going. They go 2 more Wednesdays, so the last Wednesday is October 26th. DW baseball and softball still going. They'll be done next week. There was no club high school or no club softball this fall. I heard they didn't have numbers, but next spring they're starting sanctioned high school softball. So they're going to move that kind of from the fall to the spring season. We did some overseeding at the stadium in front of the dugouts and the infield. We sodded in front of the third base dugout. We'll put some fertilizer down and started spraying. There was a new press box that was approved. I think the next steps with that is getting some plans from a company. I think they will be done with those around December and maybe open bids in January. The timeline, what I heard from Joe. We had Special Olympics last month. That went really good. It was really busy. We hosted the bocce ball and softball. We got the sunshades down just in time for the wind. We blew out some bathrooms. I got a couple more to do tomorrow, and we're still mowing, working on irrigation, cleaning, and starting to spray some of the outer areas in the fields with some weed spray. At the soccer field, DW still going. They have their last games at the end of October. It doesn't look like they're going to host any games. I think you got to be the higher seed, and I don't think they'll be the higher seed, so we shouldn't host any playoff games after that. The Soccer Association finished up, the youth did on the 24th, the competitive league, the older kids. They go till October 24th, but just practices only. They haven't any games out there yet. We blew out the drinking fountains, and we're going to stick some space heaters in our mechanical hallway, but those have heaters in the locker rooms and bathrooms, so we'll turn those on starting tomorrow and see what happens after next week. Irrigation and mowing and painting, and starting to spray fields out there. At the ice arena, everything's up and going now. Hockey started practices on the 3rd. They had a 5-day camp at the end of September and a couple clinics, 4 free tri-hockey free sessions. Figure skate started up the 7th, and they've had a couple clinics as well. So we're cleaning in there. They have all their practices going, so it's pretty busy at night. Working on gates and doors and starting our dry shaving and edging. And we'll be starting open skate on I think I'm going to go on the 28th, open skate and bumper cars.
I know I asked you to set the softball fields for one of the bottle fillers instead of the water fountain. I got asked at the ice arena too.
Yep, they were looking at that. There was that capital improvement fund, and I gave them the price for them, what they have paid towards that, and that will cover one of those, kind of the same that we have in the back of the ice arena. So he's going to go to a board meeting, see if that's what they like, and then they would have to come here to use those funds, and I'm not sure how we get those funds, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. I was talking to Eric about that. I gave him
I actually had another person approach me too at figure skating. They were asking about.
in the front lobby.
Yeah. Right
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, for ours, for programs, our youth football wrapped up, and our youth volleyball wrapped up here in the last couple weeks. So like Jeremy said, we just have our adult flag going on, so that's the last outdoor program we have going on right now, and we're taking registration for all of our other fall, winter stuff with our youth basketball is the next one coming up, starting next Monday. We did have to cancel our swimming lessons for this session, which is all the way up through mid-December, just because of the pool being down, but we should be able to get back going for our January through April sessions. So that's good. It was not a good thing that we had to cancel those because we had most of them full, but not much we can do about that, so. But Todd and I and Jamie are going to be meeting here in the next couple of weeks on some different ideas for newer programs that we can do in the winter time and springtime. So if you guys have any ideas, let us know. We're always open to ideas on some new programs, see if we can do them. As far as the rec center goes, like Kevin said, we are down in revenue as far as like our weekend day passes and swim fees and stuff with the pool being closed, but our usage actually at the rec center, our numbers, check-ins and stuff are actually up over last year at this time, which is good. So if we had the pool, it'd be even better, obviously. So we're excited about that. We're still busy. I mean, there's kids and athletes in there after school. The seniors, a lot of them that were doing the aqua classes are coming in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and some of them even on Tuesdays and Thursdays to do some stuff with Thomas and Adam. So it's good to see that. And we actually shot a commercial yesterday with Midco, kind of featuring some of that stuff. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon. Nope, it's on. Oh, sorry. So where was I at? So as far as the pool goes, we did have a meeting today, and what we can tell, we'll be getting they're going to be putting it down on paper, what they're all going to be doing to the pool for our fixes and stuff, and with their goal being to have it completed and ready to go. The goal, anyway, if everything goes good, by Christmas break. So got that confirmed today. So it'll be great if we can be open by Christmas break. That would be awesome. We still do have a little bit of a shortage with some guards that did have to leave because they didn't have some jobs, obviously, the last few months. But we'll try and recruit some more and hopefully try and get them to come back maybe. So, but we'll be excited when the pool's back up and running. So, and everybody will, I know. So, one thing too, we are going to be hosting a lift-a-thon. We've never done one of those before. Ryan Hanks, who is from Mitchell and was a member way back when he was a kid, and he was a member there when Rob was the director, and he wants to do a lift-a-thon. He's done a few of them before in Florida, and he wants to do one here to have the proceeds go towards the rec center in memory of Rob. So we're going to be trying that on October 29th. It's a Saturday. We'll have the weight room and the back gym will be closed down for most of that day to do that. Don't ask me what they all do because I have no clue, but he's going to be running that, and so we're excited to see how that goes. So we're going to be doing that. And then one other thing I do want to mention, because this was kind of a surprise yesterday, Thomas Gullidge, our wellness coordinator, got a pretty nice award from the State Department of Health. He got the State Chronic Disease Partner of the Year Award for all of his work that he's done with Sanford Health and the state on the different grants he's done with the programs that they've done with the state. And so he was pretty excited about getting that, and we were all very excited for him to get that. So that's a pretty cool thing. A little update on the remodel of the old pool. Mueller did come in and started taking down some of the ceiling to see what was up there, and they found a few things that they have to do, but I think it's definitely manageable. But they won't start the majority of their work until January, so they'll be doing that January, February, March. So, any other questions? All right.
Okay, this past month we finished winterizing the outdoor pool. We'll do the building and irrigation around there next week. We still got to winterize all that stuff. We finished installing the playground equipment at the Kiwanis Woodlot, and the surfacing company showed up today. They're got one coat layer down today, and I think they got to put the other color on tomorrow. So I'm hoping that they'll be finished with that by the weekend. And then we got to finish some dirt work around there, put in a sidewalk from the parking lot to the playground, and maybe one from the playground to the shelter, kind of tie things all together. We added some new playground mulch to the park at Kibbe. Hauled out the tree piles from the Sportsman's Dock area that the volunteers had cut out for us. Been marking boulevard trees and park trees that need to be removed this winter. Still doing some irrigation maintenance / repairs. Our 4-inch line in Hitchcock Park sprung a leak, so we're waiting for some fittings for that so we can winterize it. Starting to winterize shelters and restrooms. Had a couple of shelters or restrooms get vandalized. They Drive Run Park and Pioneer Park both got vandalized. They took the TP out of the dispensers and lit them on fire. And then Pioneer Park got hit again, where they broke the sinks in it that time. But we got them repaired, and they're locked up and winterized now for the year. We had to remove a couple more trees for Public Works Department on their 5th and 10th Street project, a couple by the post office, and then one on 10th. We planted some more trees out at Indian Head Park. The security light got installed by the basketball court in Hitchcock Park. Our campground hosts are done for the season, and so we're kind of overseeing that a little bit. And then our day-to-day operations. Any questions?
Do you have any cameras you can use? Just seems like we keep having vandalism.
We always have vandalism. We got a couple of trail cameras we've used in other places at different times, but we do have a couple of trail cameras we've put up in the past, and so we can look at doing that again. Seems like it goes from park to park, and once we put them up in one park, they move to the next park or something, and
Seems like the camera's pretty cheap compared to fixing things.
yeah. And the problem is with actual security cameras in the parks, there's no internet connection, stuff like that, so it's kind of hard to.
So it does boil down to using a game camera or a trail camera.
And
And that
then-
gives you a time where somebody went in and out, but you still don't know if that's the person who did it. But it does give a reasonable suspicion to law enforcement to know who they should be watching or questioning parents.
Thank you, Steve.
I have a narrative up in here as well, talking about lake readings. I see last year by looking at records, Steve, that the microcystin reports weren't done in October last year, and that phosphorus were. Is that something that continues or doesn't continue, or is it just something that didn't make the record?
Yeah, I guess we, in the past, quit doing the microcystin kind of when we stopped doing our other ones we send to the state.
Because the readings generally go down to nothing.
Yep, because we go from one holiday to the other holiday, Memorial Day to Labor Day weekend, but we've just kind of been continuing the microcystins this year.
Because generally they go down to about, there's nothing to be turned in there anyhow about
Yep.
now. Okay. Pontoon boat, I gave an explanation there that's easier to read than what it is to try to explain again. Kelly property, as Steve noted, everybody's pretty delighted that it's been sold, and we hope the new owners are as delighted as we are to not have the maintenance of it anymore. Actually signed the final electric bill for it today. Even Angel had a smile on her face as she delivered it from my office. Pickleball kitchen lines, I've got another explanation there on the bottom. Over the course of the last 2 meetings, we basically got permission to paint all of them. But all of them aren't needed to be done, so the middle 3 are not needed to be done, but the other ones they prefer. I had narrowed it less than that last night. Basically, the west 5 and the east 4, it was like they have done. Some of them already have junior lines on, some do not, and that's the ones where it challenges them because there's nothing but regular tennis lines on those courts to be able to play in. It gives them some broader rules, but it's a little more running for them too. Outside of that, discussing with an individual a couple of different times who wants some trees placed out up along where the Celia Kelly pines are. They needed to tear up near the ditch to place some storm sewer through there, and he's requesting that we place some more trees. Kind of make it look better than what it does. Not that what was taken out was that good to start with, but there's still some scrappy looking cedars along the edge, on the north edge of Sea Lake that was there, and so we're hoping to get some spruce in there if we can find some yet this fall. Or if it stays this dry, I wouldn't recommend planting it this fall anyhow, because I had plenty of photos today of when I, in a former job, was planting trees yet on October 30th last year, but the ground was moist. And they were bald and burlap, so it was okay to put them in, but I wouldn't plant a bare root or anything like that this time of the year. So that's one thing, if anybody's not driven out past that along south where the soccer complex is, to see where that storm sewer is being put in. I think the road is being torn up today. Did you go out that way though?
No.
It was
shut down today.
Okay. I was out there yesterday. So we'll see what we can do to improve that. It may not happen right away, but we'll see what we can do. Questions on things which I deal with specifically or supervise with these guys?
Have we set a rental rate for that pontoon yet? I don't remember.
So is that something we want to try to do in advance of? I'm sorry, I'm not talking into the microphone.
We have not yet set a rental rate for that, and we can look at rates of what other communities do, combine with what we think might be a doable market rate, and bring that to you next month, as well as in addition to the other rate changes, which we hope to implement at that time. Did we have any discussion in the past over what that was?
I don't remember having one.
I'm seeing nodding over here and.
Not formally with the board, no.
Okay, okay,
But
internally,
Nathan did with Steve and I.
okay. Sorry about the incoming. It's the mayor.
Tell them to get in line.
Yep.
I'm here.
He's probably, yeah, I was gonna say, he's probably checking to see if you really showed up.
Are you really there?
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. I guess the only other item on our agenda is to set the next meeting date. I have it down as the 10th of November. I think the next day is, I'm sorry, 8th of November. No, we're the 10th, we're Thursday, right? Yeah, the next day is Veterans Day. I don't know if that's going to cause some problems for people.
I won't be here, but
Well, if we want to, I'm open to moving it if we have a consensus.
Veterans Day, I'm showing is on Friday.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I might want to get out of town. Maybe some other people might.
I think there's all 3 weeks in a row, there's not any school on Friday. So the 11th, the 18th, and then the next week is,
Thanksgiving, yeah.
yeah, so.
I'm open to whatever the consensus can get.
Got a majority here. Pick a date that works.
I'd say the week before.
So it'll be November 3rd. Does that work for everybody? You need to check a calendar and make sure.
I was just looking to see, there doesn't seem to be anything up there, but I can,
Can you see it?
There's nothing on there.
yeah, there's nothing on
I
there.
can look at the electronic here as well.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go November 3rd then. Unless we hear different. Meeting adjourned. I'm sorry. Yes. You're fast. I was expecting you to be there an hour.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm older than you.
When I walked in here, too.
Well, no.
In the summertime,
I mean, I'll put it on.
I go to work and I have to go when I'm home sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think if they didn't strike
track record, they would put it on that.
Jeremy?